Hello and welcome back to Bunnex Investment Group. In this video, we are going to talk about a very simple trading strategy called the Shadow Box Traders Dynamic Index Entry. So this strategy will basically be used for scalping or for day trading, intraday trading, for those who do not want to find the market bias. So it's actually a biasless entry type and it's very simple. But before we start, I have this indicator that I want to show you called the BTMM Pro. That is for those who are actually finding it difficult to get proper entries. These signals will last long, especially on the H1, and can help you swing and hold trades for long. As you can see, this buy actually moved this low, this sell moved this long, and these signals are sent directly to your phone. This indicator is a paid indicator that is going for $75 per month or $300 per year. See the link that I've left in the description box below if you want one copy for yourself. All right, let's jump right into the value. So what is the Shadow Box TDI entry strategy? It's basically a strategy that is going to utilize the Shadow Box or the session changeover boxes as well as the Traders Dynamic Index. I'll simply define all the things that are on my charts for the purposes of those who do not know about this template. You can request this template through the Telegram channel that I'll leave in the description box below. All right, so this blue box is actually the Asian session. It's marking the beginning and the end of the Asian session. And the Asian session is usually known as a consolidation and an accumulation phase. Then after that, we can see the market actually went right out of the Asian session, and that phase is called the stop hunt phase. Then after that, we can see this gray box. Unfortunately, this gray box is I was actually under that white box. This gray box is the shadow box, and this is a session changeover from the Asian session going into the London session. So from this shadow box, we can see the market in this transparent area. It's now the London session, and then from there we can see the London session change over to the US session, and there's also another gray box. So these gray boxes give us a lot of information when making our entries. These gray boxes or at session changeovers, that is where much of the funds or much of the liquidity is introduced in the markets by the market makers. Then on the bottom part, I have this Traders Dynamic Index, which is a free indicator and as well comes with the template that I can give you for free through the Telegram channel that I've left below. So this template, this Traders Dynamic Index is there to confirm our entries, and whatever that we've seen on the charts needs to be confirmed here on the bottom part. So what do we look for, or what are the steps of entry? Where do we enter and where do we exit? That is where I now need to explain. You now need to listen attentively. All right, so the first thing that we need to see is basically a movement of the market. Whenever the market is in Asia session, we should always know that it's a no entry zone. Then after the market moves outside the Asian session, we need to see a move above or below the Asian session, right? So this move above or below is basically an induction, as well as hitting some stop losses of those who have taken their entries within the Asian session range. And then it is actually a point whereby the market makers are preparing to get into the markets. So you can see that there were a blast of candlesticks outside the Asian session, and this will be the perfect point for, or the perfect run out of the Asian session. We call it the stop hunt or the induction move. After that, during or when this shadow box is presented, our next job is to verify that is price outside or above the Asian or below the Asian session. Then two, we now need to see a Traders Dynamic Index shark fin. A shark fin is basically when the market or this green line, which is the RSI line, goes outside the bands and then goes back inside the bands. That effect, coupled by price being in the shadow box, is actually an entry point that is enough for us to get an entry. All right, so basically we will be looking to get out. Our entry will be basically in the shadow box. That is this period changeover from Asian to London and coupled with a shark fin on the traders dynamic index. When this happens, we enter and exit at yesterday's high. You can see that these blue traces are marking yesterday's high or yesterday's low depending on the market context. So when we entered here, our exit was going to be at yesterday's high, or our take profit was going to be at yesterday's high, like that. All right, so basically let's have several examples so that we may understand and be able to apply. We can see this was the Asian session, and after the Asian session we went into the shadow box, which is right above the Asian session, and a shark fin was presented. And after that shark fin was presented, we can enter either at crossover of the RSI line, the one in green, and the 13, the one in red, crosses over, and then our exit will be at yesterday's low, which is basically this yesterday's low price, this blue tracer. Then we can see here this shadow box was within the range of the Asian session, and whenever this is the case, it means there was no entry on this particular shadow box. We need to wait to see what happens in the US session. We can see on the US session the shadow box was well above this Asian session range, and a shark fin was issued, and then we can see the market actually went right down to yesterday's low, which is this blue tracer, right? Then here, of course, we had this shadow box right slightly above the Asian session. I wouldn't say this was an A+ entry, but of course there was a couple of this crossover of the RSI line and the signal line, and then the market actually went down to the yesterday's low price, like that. Then here proves that it's not always the case whenever we are going to get an entry. In this case, we had a beautiful Asian session range, a blast outside the Asian session range, coupled with this shark fin, and then we were expecting to go long and exit at this particular price point, but unfortunately the market went otherwise. This was going to end as a losing trade. This was actually another beautiful entry consolidation, and we had this shadow box right above the Asian session, and then this was also coupled with the shark fin. After that, we were expecting to see the market to come to the low of yesterday, but unfortunately the low of yesterday was later reached on the following day, which we do not want. Whenever the day closes without reaching our low of yesterday, we do not want to hold that trade for long. This was a scenario that we do not want, because neither this first shadow box nor this one was above or below the Asian session. So basically that is what we need to see for us to get in the market using this particular trading strategy. On that note, we've come to the end of our today's video. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.